Now, before we get started, I would really love it if you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get the latest content from the YouTube channel, The Last Rewind. And don't be shy about leaving your comments at the bottom of the page because you are the sole reason why this channel will be successful. Thank you. Well, it's finally happened. Skip Bayless is out at Fox Sports, and now who's going to take on the mantle of Undisputed? If you haven't already, please hit the like and subscribe button so you can get notifications of future episodes of The Last Rewind, and so you can increase our presence in the algorithm on YouTube. So Skip Bayless has stepped down as the head honcho of Undisputed. You cannot say you were shocked because all year people were watching the ratings and they were seeing how they were going to compete with First Take. And, you know, he hired Keyshawn, he had Paul Pierce up there, a couple other people from First Take, from ESPN, over to his side, and the ratings never picked up. In fact, they kept getting worse and worse. And there were days, 500,000 was bad for them. There were days where the ratings dropped to 50,000. That's bad. And dare I say, Colin may even get his spot in that at 10 o'clock hour. Was it 10 o'clock hour time slot? You had to see this was coming. And this, I think, was due to the disdain that people had from when Shannon left. And I won't sit there and think that Shannon was the show. He was a big part of the show. But let's not forget that Skip got a big contract for what he did on First Take, for what he did on Cold Pizza. So you're saying, well, why couldn't he make that magic appear again when Shannon left? And I thought Skip might have a chance. It depended on what kind of co-host he had. And he left the usual one-on-one co-host that he had with First Take and Stephen A. And of course, this go around with Shannon Sharp. So he tried to get a panel, kind of like what First Take was doing. But I think that might be going out of style because I think people got tired of hearing the same two voices over and over again. Just got stale. And because Skip has been in the game for a long time. So it's just like, okay, we need to change the pace. And I respect that. But what I think happened is every good story, every good movie has a protagonist and an antagonist. Skip Bayless usually played the antagonist. He was the evil character, if you will. And of course, there's some people that agree with things that Skip had to say, but a lot of times people would agree with what Stephen A. and Shannon had to say. And I'm gonna keep going back to those two because they're perfect examples why I think it worked with those two and it didn't work with Paul Pierce and anyone else that was on the new Undisputed. They would often disagree. They were on complete opposite sides when it came to their opinion. And the only time I would say I would probably disagree with Shannon and disagree with Stephen A. Well, it wasn't too many times with Stephen. Well, there's probably more times I disagree with Stephen A. than I probably would with Shannon. But Shannon more so is when it came to his hot takes about LeBron and Jordan. And you know how much he loves LeBron. So he would say stuff that was egregious, ostentatious, something out of the ballpark that didn't make any sense, just to make his point. And he would be loud a lot of times when he'd be trying to make his point. But that was the perfect counterpart to what Skip needed. And the same thing with Stephen A. I would disagree with some of the things he would say with Dallas because, he's a huge Dallas Cowboys hater. And he seems to travel all over the world when it comes to who his official football team is. He'll say Giants, Eagles, and go all over the place at one point, depending on who's hot at the moment. And he'll give some hot take on who will win the finals. And if you look at his record for finals picks, it's pretty bad. And Skip is not too bad when it comes to his finals picks. But needless to say, they were on opposite ends, and that's what we need. We need to see a cat and dog fight a lot of times when it comes to TV, and TV fights create TV ratings. Let's just be honest. Why it did not work with these new guys on Undisputed, I will say, is because they didn't have the personality to go toe to toe with Skip Bayless. even though Skip could kind of get loud and he'd pound the table and he would say the stuff, that would get people pissed and stuff like that, but he was never loud like that. Not like Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe would get loud with his opinion. His eyes would bulge out of his head and he'd start pounding the table even more. Stephen A., as we know, is one of the most loudest personalities on TV, and that's why he's one of the more popular ones on TV, or at least on ESPN. That's why he's able to command that big contract is probably heading his way, ESPN, unless they don't, cough up the dough. That's why it worked. Richard Sherman, that was the other guy that was on Undisputed. That could have worked, maybe. He wasn't that loud, I would say, but he would rub Skip the wrong way, but he would rub Skip the wrong way to the point where it seemed like they were going to actually have a fist fight, and Skip probably was not going to win that fist fight. Skip looking like he's probably 160 pounds soaking wet. So I think that's the reason why this different version of Undisputed didn't work. He just didn't have the right counterpart. Can he find that next person, and maybe in the future he'll have another show and that'll work out and get good ratings? Possibly. I just think he just needs the right partner to make it work out, And then there's some rumblings of like, will he go back to First Take, now that he's a free agent? I don't think that'll happen. As friendly as Stephen A. and Skip claim to be, I hear more Stephen A. say it than Skip. I think they're friendly off camera more than they would be on camera, because Skip left because he wanted control. Skip wanted to be the head honcho of everything, and he wanted to get paid a certain amount. And he's not going to get that with Stephen A. Stephen A. Pretty much runs ESPN at this point. And he deservedly so. He's earned everything he's about to get if he ends up staying with them. And he has a great following off of ESPN. And then second to that, Shannon Sharpe, he said some nice things about how Skip believed in him and brought him on the show, but I do not think they would be friendly on this version of First Take, because he did get fired. And I don't think Skip went to bat for him and say, hey, you can't fire my partner. And we know he didn't go as far as, if he goes, I go. So I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see a reunion happening. It'd be great for TV, but I don't see it happening. And I also have to say too, the reason why Skip stepped down was because he was going to get fired. You can't be earning $7 to $8 million and only averaging 500,000 viewers. You have to, the money has to make sense. And Fox Sports is like, no, you can't get this coin anymore for these low ratings. We're going to replace you with somebody else. So either you do this amicably and step down on your own, or we're just going to have to fire you and embarrass you. Well, you're going to be going out the door kicking and screaming. So, yeah, I don't know where Skip is going to go at next, because I don't think he has a strong social media base like Shannon does. Because Shannon has his own interviewing podcast. He has the Nightcap, and of course his stint where he's on First Take. And of course, I've mentioned earlier what Stephen A. has. I don't think Skip has that. So I don't know where, his next job is going to come from. Maybe he'll go to ESPN, but just not First Take. Maybe he'll take one of the other morning jobs or morning shows and play in the background and not just run the show like he helped do with Cold Pizza and First Take and Undisputed. Maybe he'll do something else. Maybe he'll do one of the evening shows. Maybe he'll be an analyst on an actual basketball game. That's something I've never seen him do before. Why not try to do that? Why not try to call games on the NBA for Amazon or ABC next year or ESPN? Man, maybe he can try his hand at that. But then again, I don't know how the public would receive him, because like I said, he said some controversial things with NFL players. And of course, the NFL player that passed out last year with the Buffalo Bills, I don't know how people would accept him for that. So,
morning. There's been a lot of speculation of why I wasn't on air yesterday, and I won't get into speculation or conjecture or innuendo, but I will say this. In watching that game on Monday night, what happened to Damar Hamlin struck me a little different. As a brotherhood in the NFL, when injuries happen, when we know injuries are a part of the game, I've seen guys suffer ACLs and Achilles tear, but I've never seen anybody have to be revived and fight for their life on the field. So it struck me a little differently because I remember seeing my brother paralyzed on the field temporarily, and he was able to regain focus. Skip tweeted something, and although I disagree with the tweet, and hopefully Skip would take it down, but I didn't want it.
Well, time out. I'm not going to take it down because I stand by what I tweeted.
Skip, let me finish.
All right, okay.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Go ahead, let's go, Jen.
Okay.
I mean, I cannot even get through a monologue without you interrupting me.
Well,
you could have came back, Skip.
Well, I thought
Skip, just let.
I didn't know you were going to bring up
No,
this.
I was just going to say, Skip. I didn't want to yesterday to get into a situation where Damar Hamlin was the issue. We should have been talking about him and not get into your tweet. That's what I was going to do. But you can't even let me finish my opening monologue without you interrupting.
Okay. I was under the impression you weren't going to bring this up because nobody here had a problem with that tweet.
No. Clearly, the bosses wanted you to offer explanations. So clearly, somebody.
No, they did not have. Nobody.
Let's go, Jen.
I'd like to hear what y'all guys think is going to happen with him in the future. Leave your comments below you, and I will see you on the next The Last Rewind. Peace. Have a good day.